Okay. Here we go. So, go ahead. And, of course, this is not a performance. You understand? It's not a movie theater. It's not a TV show. I'm here to state the truth. So there's no commenting allowed. Okay? Those of you who want to go to these things and you want to chime in and chat around because you're lonely, well, this is not the place to be. Okay? No chatting, no comments. If I had an application that I knew how to shut that down, I would. I know there are some. I don't have time to waste it on figuring out all this garbage. I do important stuff. And when I'm not doing important stuff, I enjoy my life because I've been semi-retired for over 10 years now. All right, so go ahead now and talk about the topic of today. You can see. Once again, no comments, please, nothing personal. But as you all probably have noticed, I do things a little bit differently than everybody else. I'm a little different than most people. And maybe that's why I get different results, namely superior results. Okay? I don't want this stream to turn into an entertainment venue for you guys. You want to chat around and post this and that. Because that's, you all got to get your act together. I'm here to state the truth. If you want to see what's going on, sit down and listen. Okay? The problem is that all you people on ScamTube, you don't even realize what's going on. You don't even realize how your mind has been hijacked. You all are going on ScamTube. Oh, I'm bored. I want to see this. And you're not even in touch with your subconscious. You actually allow this entertainment mindset to encroach upon, to infest a more serious situation in your life. In other words, at first you listen to some of these clowns like Harry Dent or some of the fake investment gurus like Meet Kevin, Tom Nash, and you're thinking it's entertainment. But guess what? It impacts what you do. Whether you realize it or not, it's the same way that it works with CNBC. So many people out there, oh, well, I just watch Jim Cramer for entertainment. Folks, you don't meddle with serious things. You don't mix entertainment with serious stuff. If you all don't understand how the mind works, I suggest you do some studies. I don't need to do the studies. It's pretty obvious. The subconscious has a very powerful impact on your behavior. Okay, you avoid dog shit. If you think you have control over your mind, you don't. You really don't. Okay, maybe you should read some books on propaganda, how that works. So that's the situation. Okay, that's why I don't allow comments. I'm here to give a lecture. Okay, that's kind of the situation. If you don't like it, go on to some other channel where they have little streaming comments. One of these fucking goofballs. Okay, I'll just go ahead and state a few things before I begin. Talk about Harry Dent, the broken clock con man. First of all, let's take a look at, notice the title of this stream. Broken clock charlatans, Harry Dent, Peter Schiff, and those who promote them. It seems like everybody and their mother, even if they realize these guys are charlatans, broken clock con men, they don't understand the big picture. The big picture is, wait a second, who in the fuck is promoting these guys? Who in the fuck is giving them airtime? That's the problem. That's the problem. Without airtime, these guys would be unknown. They wouldn't be able to harm people with their terrible quote, we'll call it analysis, although it's a narrative, it's a pitch, it's what it is. They wouldn't be able to harm people if they had no exposure. I know this, it's very dear to me because I was banned a long time ago. I could have helped the world make a fortune in the financial crisis, but I was banned. Nobody knew about me. I'm the only person who actually published detailed information on the financial crisis that enabled people to make a fortune in advance. Nobody else in the world did that, by the way. Okay? And nobody, I contest that no one truly predicted the financial crisis except for me. Certainly, without a doubt, guaranteed, bet you $1 million, I'm the top expert on the financial crisis. Nobody. You can make your claims of this person and that person did that and that. Okay? That's up for debate. But there's one thing is for sure. Nobody predicted the financial crisis with the detail and accuracy and foresight that I did and enabled them to make a fortune. Nobody. I'll back that with any amount of money. Any amount of money. Okay? And why this is important is because, folks, you got to understand what's going on here. Think about that. Assuming you haven't researched my track record, and you can see, of course, there's material. It's not on the stream, but you can see on the site and different videos under the description. You can see all the track record information. Just assume I'm correct, because I can guarantee damn well to you I'm correct. Okay, I can go through my track record. It would take me a year to go through the amazing calls on my track record. Okay, but it's just pretty obvious. Find another analyst who was recommending NVIDIA 15 years before it became the world's hottest company, the world's hottest stock. Not just recommending it every year. I didn't come out and say, oh, okay, buy it, and then they forgot about it. No, every year it was the #1 stock for long-term growth in my research. Okay? Nobody in the world. Oh, you got lucky. Oh, really? Well, how about Netflix? Right? Similar deal with Netflix, 2008. Put it in a book. So, here's the important thing. I don't like talking about myself, but more and more, I'm increasingly having to focus on that why, because it's been now almost 20 fucking years with all my research. I'm the top analyst in the world. There's no doubt about that. If you think there's someone else out there who's better than me, put up your money and let's go. You can find anybody. The advantage for you is you can go anywhere in the world, find anybody that can prove it. You got to prove it. Okay? Prove it. Even if, let's assume that it's not the case. Let's assume that my claims are not true. Well, folks, clearly, the worst case scenario, I'm one of the very best guys in the world. One of the top analysts in the world. When I'm talking handful. There's absolutely 100% irrefutable. Okay? My point is this. Think about if that's the case, which it is. I've been banned. Why is that? Why have I been banned? Once you understand this, and this is why it's important to learn my track record. Once you understand this, you will begin to realize how you're being fucked by all media. How they're intentionally fucking you, promoting these broken clock con artists. And they've been doing it for years. Nobody in the world has exposed all these financial charlatans like me. Been doing it for almost 20 years. In fact, I actually took a look at my website here. I wanted to kind of see here. Don't get your hopes up. Only members and clients get the advanced search and the search. But I did a search for Peter Schiff. Take a look. Schiff. How many entries do you see for Schiff? 447. 447. When I say, and I've said it before, I've got Schiff's number, nobody knows this guy's bullshit better than me. Okay? Think about that. 447 articles and videos on this clown. Who knows him better than me? Nobody. Let's take a look at Harry Dent. How about Harry Dent? What do we got for Dent? 146. 146 on Dent. I mean, come on. Who's the fucking pro exposing the fraudsters? Me. In fact, nobody even goes after these guys. Nobody exposes them. Why is that? Jim Rogers, so on and so forth. So once you understand my credentials, my track record, then you say, wait a second, how come we don't even know about this guy? He gets zero promotion. I mean, think about it. Like, not even a fucking pinhead wants to interview me. Not that they'd have a chance. And of course, that's because all these pinheads, they just, oh, well, I heard he's good. I'm going to interview him. Right? Folks, once you understand what's going on, okay, you'll realize this is done intentionally to fuck you, to create dumb money. I've explained it 1 billion times over the years. Seems like 1 billion times, probably only 1,000. And that's the following. You got to understand ad-based content. All ad-based content is a scam. Even made a video on it. Made a video about everybody on YouTube who monetizes their channel. Consider them a scam artist. Anyone who monetizes their channel, consider them a scam artist. Why? Because they're in a business partnership with those who are posting advertisements on their videos. And I believe, based upon my careful observations over the past several years, that 90 to 95% of all ads on YouTube are scams. So think about that. And I think it's safe to say most people at this point realize that most of these ads on YouTube are scams, or at the very best, scammy. So think about it. If you're monetizing your channel, and once again, pretty much we all know the ads are scams. You're agreeing to allow YouTube to post scam ads. You're a business partner with YouTube and their scam artist advertisers. You are profiting from that. What does that make you? It makes you a fucking scammer. That's for everybody. You spread this fucking message out there. You spread it around. Okay? That's a fact. You're a scammer. Folks, people just don't understand. These channel owners, they don't give a fuck about their audience. They're going to sell you guys down the fucking drain. They don't give a fuck. It's all about creating bullshit content, clickbait content, disinformation, feel-good content, scammy content, all designed to sell ads, to get views, to sell ads, to get endorsements. You know, I ran across another video the other day. I'm going to be releasing it if I haven't already, on our friend, the small guy, Graham Stephan. I have another video in my archives of where he removed another FTX endorsement. This time it's on his not Millennial Money. I think I have that as well, but the iced coffee hour. He spliced out an endorsement for FTX on his iced coffee. That's illegal. You can't do that. He's being investigated. All these people are being investigated by the SEC for securities, selling unregistered securities. That investigation's not over. And I'm sure he's being investigated by the state of Nevada. And the state of Nevada states that you cannot tamper with evidence if you're being investigated. That's illegal. It's called evidence tampering. Okay? Of course, this is coming from someone, you would think I'm an attorney. Well, I know a lot about law. When you're running a business, when you're working in venture capital, private equity, Wall Street, structuring deals, and you've been around for decades doing this shit, you learn a lot about law. Okay? And I can tell you another thing. Of course, I was the only person, it remains the only person, I guess, to be coming out and telling everyone that they need to post FTC, Federal Trade Commission affiliate disclosure the right way. And virtually nobody is doing that. And I think a lot of these people on ScamTube got that from this Casey Neistat. This the guy that looks like he's been in a lot of UFC fights with his hands tied behind his back. I noticed this a long time ago. Folks, I've been observing, investigating ScamTube for a long time. Okay? There's so many fucking scammers out there I have files on. So many. I mean, you all don't even have a fucking clue, an idea. That's why I stayed off YouTube a long time ago. It's been a scam portal from day one. Okay? When they started monetizing. That's when it became a scam portal. I've even got material on this Harold Balder scam artist clown. He was actually, I mean, you all guys don't. Here's the problem with YouTube. It's a great machine for scammers. Why? Because they can change anything. They can change the title of their videos. They can change the description. They can change everything later in time, and nobody will know. There's no like Wayback Machine that records it. But you see, this Harold Balder, several years ago, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, he was on this whole libertarian bandwagon bullshit. And he was pitching his little Patreon for claiming, oh, I can teach you this in investments. He was in the whole investment guru bullshit. I've got all the stuff on this guy. I mean, anyway, that's just one example. Okay. If you are monetizing your channel, you're a fucking scammer. Write it down. Write it down. And the problem, of course, is that everybody and their fucking grandma starts a YouTube channel these days. Why? It's implicit that it's a business. Therefore, think about the content. The content's going to suffer. And it's suffered over the years. It gets worse and worse and worse. And I've even noticed these very large channels that provide these documentaries and so on. They're fucking garbage now. They're not careful about checking facts. And, you know, it's going to fly past the vast majority of people because they don't know what's going on. Folks, if you are going to YouTube for information, for education, your life is going to be in the gutter. You are either going to remain a loser or you're going to become a loser. I can assure you that. You're going nowhere. But I'm learning so much. Okay, I can tell you right now. If you have no morals and you want to succeed in life, if you consider success money at all costs and no morals, let me give you some advice. Start a YouTube channel and become a scammer. That's the easiest way to extract money from people. And of course, ScamTube does nothing about it. This is what YouTube is about. It's scams. I've been saying this for years. Okay. And of course, you all know by now, hopefully, you know, the world's largest hate group, the ADL, absolutely controls YouTube and make sure the truth doesn't get out. You might want to look into the ADL. They were busted in the 90s, in the early 90s, for spying on Americans. They were labeled a spy organization. Okay? That's right. In fact, there used to be on ScamTube many years ago. I should have saved it. I don't think I did. Although I've got about 20 external hard drives, many terabytes. I'm not going to look over it, but there was actually a video of the press release of that, of the indictment of the ADL in the 90s in San Francisco. I wish I could find it. It's gold, because the FBI agent that was running the press release, probably like a regional director or something. Maybe it could be the federal guy, I don't know. But he said, in a paraphrase, he said, this is the largest, most pervasive spy organization we have ever come across. Domestic spy organization we have ever come across. That's what he said about the ADL. FYI. Guess what? Guess what happened to the ADL? Did anybody go to jail? No. The criminal case was dropped a few years later. And you know why? Because they've got their connections. And that explains the problems in America, what's going on. Okay? That explains why Jeffrey Epstein got away for years and years, right? With raping children and pimping out children. That explains why nobody on Wall Street was even investigated for the fraud that caused the financial crisis. I could go on and on and on. Huge problem. So let me begin now with that little introduction. Okay. I mean, folks, this is the type of and this is completely unscripted, by the way. This is just, I didn't even know I was going to talk about this, but this is the type of show everybody should be listening to. This is the critical stuff. This is the truth. But instead, people are being dumbed down with a bunch of fucking horse shit, which is why they have no clue what's going on. That's the reality. Okay? That's the reality. So today, we're going to talk about Mr. Dent. And by the way, his middle name is Schuler. Schuler. Harry Schuler Dent. By the way, just wanted to let you guys know that as well. For instance, speaking of Schuler, or kind of hiding your middle name, how about some people that want to hide their last name? Their last name. For instance, our friend, scam artist, fake it till you make it, con man, Alex Hormozy, whose real name is Horowitz. Alex Horowitz. I mean, I don't know. When I think of that Horowitz, I'm thinking like of some old dude. It's like, I'm thinking like some old guy. I don't know why. Maybe there's some guys that I've back in my mind that I've come across that were like old dudes. But when I think of that, it seems like kind of an old name. But Mr. Hormozy, Mr. Horowitz, doesn't want to tell you his real name for some strange reason. Don't know why. Don't know what the reason could be. Right? I won't even move on with that topic. And by the way, before I begin with Harry, let's go ahead and mention, if you all don't know, there's a group of people. There's quite a large mafia that runs cryptocurrencies. Huge. Okay. And it's funny because many of the people that run the cryptocurrency industry, they're directly connected to the financial system. They're directly connected to Wall Street and venture capital. And it's funny because all these crypto kids, they want to get away from the banks and the bankers. They want to be their own bank, yet they're being fucking played. They're being played. They're being stooged. It's kind of the same thing that happened with the precious metals. Be your own bank. Buy gold, buy silver. Well, folks, if you want to make money, if you want to make big money in precious metals, I said this a decade ago, if not longer. It's the same way you make the big money with cryptocurrencies. You want to make money in precious metals, you become a precious metals dealer. You understand? And that explains why there's disinformation out there in terms of the economy. It's all about getting suckers to buy gold and silver. Similar situation with cryptocurrencies. You want to make money in cryptocurrencies, you start an exchange, okay? Think about this for a second. What's the world come to when you've got people that start a cryptocurrency exchange and they're located somewhere in bumfuck Caribbean, some offshore place that there's no jurisdiction. And what that means, there's no legal basis for any type of authority mechanism to come in there and, protect you if they take your money, right? What's the world come to when you have people that trust strangers that are going to hold their money in some offshore jurisdiction, right? They trust them. And as I've said before, it's amazing to me that these crypto clowns don't realize that once you go through crypto exchange, it's no longer decentralized. It's only decentralized if you're sending payments and receiving payments directly from somebody, and you have your crypto stored in some type of a wallet, your personal wallet. You can't store it on Coinbase. You can't store it on Binance, right? The minute that you go to some third party, it's no longer decentralized. It becomes centralized to the fraudsters running those crypto exchanges. And by the way, let me just remind everyone out there, these companies, these exchanges have the legal right. They have the legal right to take your cryptocurrency if they become insolvent. If they need money, they have the legal right. You have given them the legal right to take your money. If you don't believe me, well, you haven't been around a while. Everything I say, okay, I've earned that credibility. Everything I say should be taken to be 100% fact until proven otherwise. Now, if you don't believe me, if you're one of these stragglers that don't know my track record, know my credibility, all you got to do, for instance, is go on Coinbase, go on their website, and download their SEC filings. Okay? 10K, 10Q. And they have to disclose that. They've disclosed it. I talked about this a few years ago. They've disclosed that they have the right to seize your money. Okay? So it's even worse, actually, in their case, because you've already agreed to that. So they could legally take your money, at least with the scammer in Binance. That's not publicly traded, where if he takes your money, maybe there might be some authorities that try and go after him to get the money, maybe. But in the case of Coinbase, sorry, you signed on the dotted line. Sorry. You see? Anyway, so this wasn't meant to be about cryptocurrency. But, all this stuff is to some degree connected. When you're talking about scams and scammers out there, and one final word, there's no such thing really as a cryptocurrency scam or scammer, because the whole industry is a scam. The whole industry is a fucking scam. Okay? It's just some scams are more obvious and worse than others. So this is why has nobody talked about this? The whole industry is a scam. And those individuals out there who are saying, oh, this is a scam, like CoffeeZilla, the clown, incompetent little clown that's never exposed anything that wasn't already exposed or obvious as hell. He's kind of a gatekeeper. He's actually a shill for cryptocurrencies, by the way. Why is he a shill? Because he's basically sending out the message that, hey, this is a crypto scam, this is a crypto scam, but everything else is okay. No, it's not, Coffee Boy. The whole industry is a scam. Hey, CoffeeZilla, why aren't you telling people that the entire cryptocurrency industry facilitates, promotes, and harbors money that's used for human sex trafficking, for the drug trade, for human organs trafficking, human body parts trafficking? Or why don't you tell them that the entire cryptocurrency industry is now being used for ransomware? You understand what I'm saying, folks? Folks, all these people, it's quite simple. If they have exposure, it's for a reason. And it's not to help you. They're gatekeepers. They're useful idiots. CoffeeZilla is a useful idiot. If you don't know what that means, look it up. That's why he was thrust into the mainstream media. Oh, he's doing this. Folks, I've seen this theme over and over again, over the years. That's why he was promoted on Lex Friedman's show, Joe Rogan. These guys are all gatekeepers. They're controlled opposition. You understand? You see, that's how it works. So let's go now, talk about Harry Dent. We're probably not going to get to a Doomsday Schiff here. I just had to pull this up. I have actually a research webinar scheduled for about 12 hours from now. And but I had to do this. I had to do this webinar on Harry Dent. Had to do it. So take a look at this. Home prices will drop 50 to 80%. Okay, now, first of all, I will guarantee you That's not going to happen. I will guarantee you that's not going to happen for many reasons. Okay? For many reasons. Now, before I get into the details of this Harry Dent bullshit, once again, folks, this is why it's important to understand who you're listening to. Understand the credibility and the track record of the person that you're listening to. Why? Well, who predicted the financial crisis, right? Who's the guy that predicted all this stuff? Who's the only person in the world who actually predicted the bottom in real estate 5 years before it bottomed, 2 years before it even began, the collapse? I wrote that the residential real estate would collapse by 35%. That's exactly what happened, 35%. Okay. So Harry Dent didn't predict anything. In fact, Harry Dent, see what these guys do when some type of crisis happens, they'll rush and put some type of bullshit book out very quickly. Because looking back, 5 years later, looking back, people don't understand it and realize, oh, Harry Dent released a book in 2009. Oh, he's predicting a depression and all this stuff. Same with Martin Weiss. They don't even understand that the crisis was already over. That's when the market was bottoming. And these guys are telling people to short the market, to sell at the bottom. People don't realize this thing, you see. So Harry Dent clearly didn't predict the financial crisis. He didn't even understand what caused it. He actually claimed that the baby boomer demographic cliff, right? The baby boomer demographics caused the financial crisis. That's right. That's what he claims. He's a fucking idiot. So, but I can guarantee you, real estate ain't going to drop by 50% or 80%. If it drops by 50%, you better believe everybody and their mother is going to find money. It's going to get all their money to be buying real estate. Okay? There's going to be a bottom put in real estate. If it didn't go past 35% and the biggest crisis, the biggest real estate bubble in history, it's not going to go to 50%. Okay? And not only that, there's a lot of dynamics. It's the reason why real estate is so high is because there's no fucking supply. Okay? There's no supply. You can imagine when we've got interest rates at, I don't know, 2-decade high or so, and that did not push real estate pricing down. I mean, you all do know, of course, that there's an inverse correlation between mortgage rates and real estate prices, correct? You all understand that? The higher mortgage rates go up, the more real estate prices go down, generally speaking. There is an inverse correlation. Yet the exact opposite happened during this period. Why? Well, because we had a major supply problem. There was no supply. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about this here. Before I begin, I want to just mention this Sachs Realty. This guy is obviously a con man. If you're promoting con artists, you're a con man. You're a con artist. And if it's a kid, okay, you're a fool. You didn't do appropriate due diligence. This is an adult. And as you're going to see here shortly, when we look at his channel, he has a history of promoting broken clock con artists. So it's obvious, Mr. Sachs Realty, you're a fucking scammer. You're a con man. You're promoting scammers. You're promoting con men. Why are you doing that? Right? He's doing that possibly, I don't know, but it's possible he could be getting paid to promote these guys, by the way. It's a possibility. He's also doing it because he knows he can get some clickbait. He can sell ads and make money, even though this is obvious bullshit. And finally, he's doing it because why? These guys will promote someone because they want their subscribers. He knows that anyone that falls for Harry Dent is an idiot. Okay? So he also knows, just like all these guys, that if you interview some con man who's got a cult of idiots, you're going to get some of those idiots as subscribers. And you may be able to pitch them your bullshit, whether it's your courses, your books, your Discord, or whatever. That's how it works, folks, in case you didn't know that. Okay? So let's take a quick look before we play some of this video at Mr. Sachs. Take a look here. See if we recognize anybody. I don't know who this clown is. I mean, I can go ahead and tell you with confidence, write it down, 95% of the people that he interviews are con artists, at least, if not frauds. Write it down. Write it down. Folks, birds of a feather flock together. I've told you guys, if you want to identify the whole army of con men, identify one of them and see who they hang with. Now, you can go on now Harry Dent doesn't interview anybody typically. This clown, John Rubino, another con man, you can take a look at his stuff, his website. He promotes con men. I mean, I've known about this guy for 15 years or more because he's one of the guys that was promoting all the gold pumpers, all the broken clock con artists. His site is a dollar collapse. Go on the site, you're going to see a bunch of bullshit. Okay, doom and gloom dog shit. That's what it is. Doom and gloom dog shit. I think it's his site. I haven't checked it in years. I'm almost positive it is. This is a whole. The dollar's going to collapse. I mean, think about that. This guy's he's fucking fraud. His whole thing. The dollar's going to collapse. No, it's not. It's fucking soaring. It's been soaring since the financial crisis. You dipshit con man. And here's where he gets your email. Look at this shit. Fuck it. Here's where he gets your email. Okay, give him your email, and guess what he's going to do? He's going to sell your emails to stock promoters, penny stock promoting scammers. That's what these guys do, by the way. Okay? And before you know it, you're going to be getting all types of spam. And you're going to say, why am I getting spammed? That's why, if you don't believe me, get a dummy email and enter it in and see what kind of bullshit you start getting. You're going to be getting all types of bullshit. Okay. You can just go back. In fact, let's breaking news. Gold news. Gold-backed cryptos. Let me go ahead and show you here. This is a really good look. You can see, because you can see the types of bullshit this guy was peddling. Inflation. I mean, look at this. Daily Reckoning. Agora Financial. Bill Bonner, con man. Bullshit. I talked about this fucking con man. Mises Institute. Libertarian dog shit. I mean, you can just, folks, you see? Birds of a feather flock together. Okay? Schiff Gold. You see that? Zero Hedge. Another fucking Mish Talk. Another fucking clown. This is all disinfo, gold pumping horse shit. It's a big cult. Okay? Let me show you here. You can see. Take a look. It's not as obvious now. I want to show you here. Let's take a look at 2012. You can see some of the horse shit this guy was peddling. This guy serves as, there's a lot of these sites out there that serve as Economic Collapse Blog, Michael Snyder. And notice these surnames, by the way. Notice the surnames, okay? Folks, it's a recurring theme if you don't realize it, okay? So these guys, what they do is they serve as I forgot, what's it called? And they aggregate and they publish horse shit that fits their narrative. You see? And you could just go through James Poplova, Financial Sense. This is a fucking scam site. You know what? I should go to Financial Sense right now and show you guys. Take a look at the King World News. I mean, hopefully you guys know this is all bullshit scams, okay? Jim Poplova, I'm going to go ahead and say this again. I may do a feature on this guy. He runs a site called Financial Sense. It's a interviews, and he also has a RIA, registered investment advisor. So he connects this dogma, and it's all about buy gold, everything's going to collapse. It's a perma bear disinfo site. Okay. That's what it is. And this guy, he interviewed me for my book, America's Financial Apocalypse. And he only did so because it was consistent with his theme. And what happened was this guy, he was promoting Peter Schiff day in and day out, even though he told me, oh gosh, I've gotten a copy of your book from all of my advisors. We're going to be using it. It's an amazing book, right? And of course, after he saw all my predictions come true, yet guess what? He was still pumping Peter Schiff's hyperinflation narrative for years. 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. James Paplava, Financial Sense. He was promoting hyperinflation, and guess what? This is connected to his investment firm. Think about that. Okay? Think about that. So, and it's kind of the Peter Schiff, what I call the Peter Schiff scam, whereby you don't have to solicit people shitty investments, okay? They can get indirect ideas for shitty investments. So let me explain something, by the way. Let me explain something in the investment world, which probably, unless you're in the investment world, you have no idea about this, okay? Here's how it works. In the investment world, if you're licensed to sell securities, there's a big difference between whether those securities, because every time you buy any type of security for a client, it has to be marked either solicited or unsolicited, okay? Solicited means that you basically gave them a sales pitch. Unsolicited means they called you up and said, hey, I want you to buy this for me. This is what I want, okay? Here's the big deal. The deal is, if it's solicited, you're legally on the hook, much more so than if it's unsolicited. So if it blows up and you solicited that investment, then you can be sued, okay? And depending upon the situation, it depends upon a lot of things. I'm not going to get into that. If it's unsolicited, it's much more difficult to file a case. It's possible, but it's very, very small. My point is this. And Peter Schiff does this. And I don't think anybody understands this. They don't know this. They're not aware of this. Peter Schiff gets in the media and he pitches all types of horse shit, all types of disinformation and terrible investment ideas. So what happens is that the people that fall for his horse shit, let's say they call up Euro piece of shit capital. Okay? They call up his firm and they say, hey, they get with the broker. They say, hey, I want to buy such and such. I want to buy, I don't know. I want to buy this because they got the idea from Peter Schiff talking about it in some interview. Was Peter Schiff soliciting that investment to that particular customer? Legally, no. Theoretically, but I think it was a solicitation. You understand what I'm saying? This is a big issue that no one's ever talked about, is the indirect solicitation of this garbage. So you can imagine if Financial Sense is pouring on all this horse shit, imagine how their clients did. And their clients probably didn't, their clients said, gosh, because they fell for all this doomsday shit. And so they actually talk to their advisors at Financial Sense and say, hey, I want gold and I want this and that, commodities and all this horse shit. Meanwhile, back in 2010, 11, meanwhile, guess what? Stock market was raging on fire. You understand? So let's take a look here. They used to have I want to show you. They used to have a list of all the people. I've got it saved. It doesn't matter. But you can see, you can just do a search, okay? If you want to see the army of con artists, broken clock con men, you can just take a look here. Let's see. I'm willing to bet Robert Kiyosaki is here, even though it's not really his area, okay? But this tells you a lot. Remember, this is a financial investment portal. There you have it. There you have it. Okay. How about Chris Martenson? Fucking con man. Yeah, there you have it. How about Peter Schiff? Now, I'm putting in Peter Schiff because I'm thinking like maybe Schiff stuff has been removed because they don't want people to know all the terrible advice. Let's just see, because they dropped the hyperinflation line finally. No, it's still here, so you can check it all. Yeah, you can just go through all this stuff. Complete horseshit. You can go, folks. There are hundreds now. If you happen to notice the names of these people, they had a see. Look at this. They've got Financial Sense Wealth Manager. Click here. After you've swallowed all this horseshit, they're giving you indirect solicitations. You see? I don't know where they. You can find a list of these people. If you found a list, and I've got it saved, or you can actually do Wayback Machine and see it. Take a close look at the names of these people, and you're going to find something that almost every single one of them has in common. And of course, this addresses the networking that occurs in this group. There's a lot of networking. They promote each other and they discriminate against everyone else. You see this in the media as well, by the way. Okay? It's a big problem. No one talks about it. I don't think anyone's aware of it. Okay? So let's get back to Harry Dent now. Didn't want to talk. I didn't plan on talking about this fucking clown. I'll talk about this guy in the future. Let's take a look now. This guy used to be a hack for the hyperinflation guys, and I think he dropped that line. He's a professor of, I think, economics at Johns Hopkins. I think he finally dropped that line after he realized like he was looking like an idiot. He was calling for like hyperinflation many years ago. Fucking clown. In the U.S., by the way. Rubino, let's see. Adam Taggart, another fraud con man. Complete con man. I've explained this guy. Let's go through. You can just go through the list, folks, and see. Okay. Mike Maloney, absolute con man, illiterate fucking gold and silver pumping con man, allied with a business partner with Robert Kiyosaki. Harry Dent again. 3 months ago he was talking about 50% drop, and I'm sure if we go back further, here's Peter Schiff, of course. So Peter Schiff's telling you an economic crash worse than the 1929 crash, causing the depression, right? Folks, think about it. Think about it. Let's Lady DiMartino, she's a gold pumping con artist as well. Folks, this guy, Sachs, is promoting these people. The people that give them airtime, they're just as much of a problem as these broken clocks. You understand that, right? They need to be called out. They need to be called out. Got it? It's all over ScamTube. Nobody's holding these motherfuckers accountable for promoting scam artists, broken clock con artists. Why not? Hold them accountable. Of course, that assumes you understand what the fuck is going on. That's why you don't know what the fuck is going on if you're on ScamTube. You don't know. It's all the same horse shit. Okay? You're believing all this shit. Once again, folks, that's why it's critical for you to understand my track record, my credibility. Okay? Once you understand that, you're not going to have to do much. All you got to do is listen to what I'm saying, and you're going to know, wow. You're going to say to yourself, wow, all these guys are full of shit on YouTube. Because Stathis is saying this is complete nonsense. Okay? And you're going to understand there's nobody who has uncovered the financial media better than me. I have to be the world's expert on the financial media, exposing the motives, the objectives, the means, the mechanisms by which they defraud and deceive their audience. Okay? It's pretty obvious. Should be obvious after listening to me many times. It should be obvious what's going on. Once again, ad-based content is a scam, whether you're talking about monetization on YouTube or whether you're talking about the media, mainstream alternative. If If they sell ads, you're getting fucked. Okay? You're getting fucked. The advertisers are paying for the content. They're paying for the channel. They're paying for the TV channel, the YouTube channel. Why? That's where they're making their money. Where's the loyalty to? The loyalty is to the advertisers, folks. You understand that? That's why you had these YouTube scam artists, fake investment gurus, pitching cryptos. They're getting paid, right? Think about Graham Stephan, Tom Nash, Meet Kevin, Andre Jick, all these other fraudsters that got huge fortunes pitching cryptocurrencies, pitching FTX and many other crypto scams. Nothing happened to them. They settled for a minuscule amount of money that they made. They now know that crime pays. Nothing can happen to them now. You understand? It's a huge fucking problem. ScamTube needs to be shut down. Let's listen to this video now. What does Harry Dent have to say?
Do you believe we can have a soft landing?
No, it's impossible. People have to realize the enormity of this bubble.
This is a guy, and you can go ahead and do it right now. This is a guy who's been calling for a collapse every year. Every year. That's what they do. That's what these guys do. You know that, right? And they bank on the fact that many people aren't going to know their track record. They're not going to know it all. But Harry Dent's situation, I think many people now realize Harry Dent's a broken clock clown. And I'm not going to get into the reason why they realize he is, but they don't realize Peter Schiff is as much. Because Peter Schiff throws in a lot of other ancillary topics to brainwash people and distract people. But anyway, go ahead and listen to Harry Dent.
Is not a comparable bubble in real estate. This is going to be worse than the crash before, and it's going to be way worse than the real estate crash in the Great Depression.
No, you're wrong. Folks, this guy's wrong. I've been hearing all this bullshit by all these fake investment gurus on YouTube now for years. If you don't have credentials and expertise in the investment markets, in the financial markets, you shouldn't be talking about this stuff. You're spreading fake news. Think about that, folks. Even if you're a professional in the industry, let's say, and you're on YouTube, first of all, you're not going to be credible if you're on YouTube. You don't have a YouTube channel. If you are in the industry and you have a YouTube channel, there's something weird there, because no serious, credible person in the financial industry is going to have a YouTube channel. You know why? Because of liability. Okay, liability. In fact, if you're with like a legit firm, they won't let you. But these little, maybe if you're a little small office, okay, they're doing no business, they'll let you. So being credible, we're talking about being very experienced, being an expert. Not just because you've been in the industry doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean shit. Okay, show me why you're a top expert. If you're not, shut the fuck up. Harry Dent is a con man, no doubt about it. He's been conning people. Think about what the definition of a con man is. We can take a look right now. Let's take a look right now. Just so that we're clear. Con artist. What's a con artist? Person who defrauds or swindles others after first gaining their trust. A scam operator. A swindler who exploits the confidence of his victim. Okay. From the Cambridge Dictionary, a con artist is a person who deceives other people by making them believe something false or making them give money away. So they're pitching a confidence, you can see here, confidence trick. A confidence trick. So think about that for a second. Confidence trick, right? If you've got a person who's pitching something constantly, right? He's giving you confidence that, my gosh, it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. So by default, anyone who's constantly saying the same thing, a broken clock, that's a con artist. You all understand that, right? Should be obvious. That's a con man. If you're saying the same shit year after year, you're a fucking con man. Write it down. There's no fucking doubt about that. Harry Dent, you're a con man. Peter Schiff, you're a con man. There's many others. Okay. Now, if you don't do that, if you switch back and forth, it doesn't mean you're not a con man. Jim Cramer's a con man, but he goes up and down all over the place. His MO is a little different, right? Think about it, folks. If you are misleading people, now you can say, well, what if he's just stupid? He just doesn't know. So here becomes the question of motive, right, and intent, right? Well, if you got people saying ludicrous things, and Harry Dent said many ludicrous things, Peter Schiff has said many ludicrous things, well, I think that proves your intent. These people are they're trying to instill a sense of confidence that the economy is going to collapse. Always, every fucking year. The dollar's going to collapse. Always, every fucking year. Why? Because they want to pitch their dog shit to you. Harry Dent wants to pitch you his bullshit newsletter, okay? And his bullshit books. His bullshit talks, okay? Peter Schiff wants to pitch you his bullshit investments. And I've shown, matter of fact, let's go ahead. I hate to distract again, but you all know, a person like me who's a world authority in this stuff, it's not a simple thing just talking about Harry Dent. All this shit's connected because I know the full fucking Monty on the whole industry. So it's all connected. Let's take a look at Peter Schiff here. Peter Schiff, let's take a look at his investments. So let's pull this up here. Let's pull this up. I want to show you guys the performance of Peter Schiff's funds. Okay. Now let me just go ahead and give you guys I've mentioned this before. Let me give you a little insider knowledge here. Nobody really knows this. I would say no one outside of Peter Schiff's little inner circle knows this, and maybe many of them don't know. Well, this fucking sucks. Let's go to the classic version. But you all may know that Peter Schiff, after the financial crisis, wow. So there was a shooting attempt. This just proves, if this was at Trump, this just proves what many people know, and that is these liberals, these are the violent psychopaths. Okay? Of course, now I am apolitical. I don't vote. It's all a scam. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. If you vote, you're a sucker. You're better off not supporting a fraudulent political system that they have in America by not voting. That's my vote. I'm voting not to support that system. But anyway, of course, because many of the gun owners, and I'm anti-gun, by the way, absolutely anti-gun. I think guns should be banned. It'd be a much safer country if guns are banned. There's no doubt about that. Anybody who thinks otherwise is just delusional. But obviously, the right-wing people are typically, they're the gun owners mostly, right? Just generally speaking. And so their thought is, they're dangerous, they're violent, they have guns. But the reality is, if you look at history, it's these radical psychopath Democrats, the liberal, the leftists that create the problems. Okay, and this just proves that. If in fact it was an attempt on Trump's life, anyway. Let's go back and show you here. And of course, you're going to see a bunch of videos on YouTube now because all these guys want to chase the views. They want to chase the clicks, the ads. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the S&P 500. Okay, S&P 500. I don't really pay attention to news in the U.S. It's a waste of time. Of course, I'm going to come across it just like then, but it's just a distraction. They want to distract you from the real issues. That's all. That's what's going on. So you don't realize that your healthcare system is a complete fucking scam, that your jobs are going to continue to go overseas no matter who's elected president, because who do you think's running the show, folks? Who do you think's running America? It's not the president. It's the corporations and the banks. Okay, wrote about that in my book, America's Financial Apocalypse. One of the reasons why it was banned, of course, I don't want you to know the story. Wrote about free trade destroying middle class before anybody had a fucking clue, and they only know about that because of Trump, who apparently his group looked at my book. They use it as a reference. That's what I was informed, was told, not surprised, of course. Let's take a look now. Well, so we're going to take a look at Schiff's first fund here. This is a value fund, international value. International value, okay? There you have it. Now, let's go back. God, I hate to, we're not going to get to Dent. My God, this sucks. Oh well. The key thing is that you're learning and you're getting the truth, right? So let's take a look here. I want to show you, where is his? Okay, so let's take a look at his value fund, this fact sheet. I want to take a look at the fees, okay? I want to take a look at the fees, fee structure, right? Give me a second here. So do all fund documents. EuroPac International Value Fund. So let me just mention, by the way, so Peter Schiff, his whole thing, in case you don't know, is the U.S. is going to collapse. It's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. He didn't predict the financial crisis, by the way. And if you read his book, Crash Proof, it's funny because it wasn't crash proof. Many of his clients, and I can't speak for the number because I don't have the data, but we know for a fact, because there was a performance from one of his clients floating around, they lost more than the S&P 500. His book wasn't crash proof. It was a bullshit, fear-mongering nonsense. Didn't help people make money. It was completely wrong. Okay, and that's why people that invested with him lost more than if they just held the S&P 500. But his whole pitch is basically America's bad, the dollar's bad, market's going to collapse, dollar's going to collapse, dollar's going to zero, dollar's not worth anything, buy gold. Buy my funds that are investing outside of America. That's Peter Schiff's whole pitch. So why would he be pitching that? Folks, he can't compete with brokers and funds in America. You see, he wants to pitch international stuff because there's no competition. But the fact is that international investing is very expensive. It's very costly. You're going to pay all these fucking fees that are huge. Okay, wait and see. You invest and you'll see. We're talking also not just the management fees. We're talking about all types of other fees that hit your account. Okay, there's administrative fees, management fees. So that's why he pitches international. I mean, think about it for a second. You've got a guy who he's telling you the rest of the world is a better investment than the world's empire, America. America has the strongest economy, the best, strongest, largest capital markets, the most transparent capital markets in the world. I mean, think about it. He's telling you basically, don't invest in Microsoft, don't invest in NVIDIA or Google, right? Or NVIDIA, did I say NVIDIA? Netflix, right? McDonald's, the biggest, greatest companies in the world. Johnson & Johnson, Merck Pharmaceutical, Amgen, Eli Lilly. Think about it. He's telling you, don't invest in Walmart. None of this, right? Think about this. Are you kidding me? Is something wrong with your head, Peter? You understand? He's pitching international investments because he can't compete with other firms. He wants to give you this horse shit, this conspiratorial nonsense. And he's been absolutely wrong. He's been absolutely wrong. Once again, I've got 440, is it 46 or 47 articles on Peter Schiff and videos on my website. Almost 500 entries on the guy. Nobody in the world comes remotely close to exposing this guy like me. Why do you think Peter Schiff would never go up against me on a neutral platform? And that is even if I could bring myself to debate him. I say it's hard to debate someone when you know that they're a con artist, you see, because there's really no debate. There's no debate. Even if I could bring myself to try and have a debate, guaranteed he would never do it. He fears me. Con artists fear the truth, folks. You understand that? And they know that they're protected through the media, through the idiocy of people that believe them and that interview them. So take a look here. Interesting. So this is his fund is, I don't know, 15 years old or so. And so 15 years and you got 27.87%. Take a look. And by the way, these are A shares. Peter Schiff sells A shares. Who the fuck sells A shares besides Dave Ramsey? If you're selling A shares, you're a fucking scammer. You're paying 5% sales commission. Are you fucking kidding me? Plus the annual expense ratio. And they're going to say, oh, you don't pay one. No, yes, you do. You pay many other things. And this is where it's important. Virtually nobody knows this, by the way. And I've said it before. The expense ratio doesn't cover all the charges. Your expense ratio for any fund you have, you're paying more than what is listed in the prospectus. There's many things, depending upon what's in this prospectus, that aren't included in the expense ratio. Write it down. Ticket charges, when they make trades, auditing fees, so on and so forth, marketing, so on, many things. It depends upon the particular fund, what they list. Here's my point. I just told you that the costs of international investing are high, right? Because you're having to go to the international markets. So you're paying for those fees. It's not reflected in the expense ratio, okay? Anyway, take a look. Let's call it 15 years with this fund, and you got 28%. Are you kidding me? That's it? But wait a second, it gets worse. Why? Take a look at the little footnote. Oh, yeah, it's 15 years, 2010. Okay, this is weird. 2 inception dates. Anyway, this reflects no deduction for fees, expenses, or taxes. Okay? But wait a second. I don't care about... I want to see what the fees are. Taxes that we don't know. It could be your different tax bracket. I want to see what the fees, all the fees. You understand that? Okay? Go through and read this carefully. So anyway, let's take a look. Let's go back to this. Let's take a look at the performance. And there you have it. This is probably going to screw up. Let's see if it's... Yeah, fuck. Unbelievable. Let me go back to... So I tried to make a... Folks, look, I've got the number of all these guys. Okay? I'll be damned. I did the video on Jeffrey Gunlock, right? Folks, if you're a credible investment manager, fund manager, and you're doing well, you're not in the media trying to pitch your bullshit to the dumb money. You're in the media because you're trying to lure people with your celebrity media. Oh, well, they say he's great. Oh, wow, I liked what he said. I'm going to call now and invest in his fund. And they don't take the fund. They don't bother to take a look at what's going on. They don't look at the fund performance or anything. That's how stupid people are. If you watch the media, you're dumb. YouTube, you're a billion times dumb. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh my God. EPIVX. Get it here. Once again, this is Peter Schiff's International Value Fund. And we're going to go we'll just use this inception. I think he shut it down and reopened it. That's probably what it is, but we'll see. So take a look. Oh yeah, 2010. So you can see here. So the S&P is up about 450%. Okay. His fund is up 20%. So I suppose this is with all the fees. Look at that. How is this value? Value? What value? Right? Folks, the only person making money this fund, if you want to count 20% in 15 years, when the S&P is up 444%, and that doesn't even include dividends, sorry, you're losing money. You can make more money in a fucking money market account. The only person making money in this fund is Peter Schiff, charging you those fees, charging those sales charges, right? Let's take a look here because I want to see. So I wanted to see if there was so you see the yield here. So apparently they pay a dividend or distribution, right? What do you think this is? This is approximately, I think it's about what the S&P pays, although the past few years it was higher. The S&P was higher, but let's just assume this is similar to the S&P. Here's my point. A value fund is what Berkshire Hathaway, well, is supposed to be anyway. Of course, in reality, it's not a value fund anymore. Warren Buffett is a self-proclaimed value investor, although he's got a lot of tech. That's a whole other topic of discussion. I've exposed that before. I won't get into it today. But value investors, folks, value means what? Value companies typically are paying dividends. You all know that? Are you aware of that? Growth companies typically don't pay a dividend, or it's much smaller. Value companies typically, not all cases, because small caps is a different category, but when you think of a value company, you think of a company that's not growing that fast. If a company is not growing that fast, investors demand that some of that profit is returned to them. If you're growing fast, the last thing a prudent, sophisticated investor would want is for the company to distribute a cash dividend. Why? Because if they distribute a dividend, let's say the dividend yield is 2%, 3%, the company can reinvest that money back into the growth and return 10%, 20%, 30%. You see, value companies don't grow that fast, and therefore they tend to have dividends. Okay, so I'm pointing this out because I want you to understand that Peter Schiff's value fund is only paying basically a yield that's similar to the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is not a value index. It's a growth, right? It's mainly growth, right? So think about that for a second. What a fucking bullshit fund. Let's take a look now at the holdings. Let's see if we got here. Yeah. So you can read all this horse shit. Here's the top 10 holdings. Now this is interesting. British Tobacco, Agnico Gold, Eagle Mines, or I think is this a Canadian company? I don't know. Newmont, Barrick. So you've got tobacco and then 3 gold miners, Canadian Bank, Tencent. The fuck you doing? Peter, what are you doing? Sonic Healthcare, don't know the company. Franco-Nevada Corp, sounds like a gold miner or something, some miner. Philip Morris and Shell. So think about this. So because Peter wants to pitch you international value, right, he has to put tobacco, a risky sector, risky industry, right? Tobacco is clearly a risky industry for many reasons. You all know that, right? He's got 2 holdings of tobacco on there. In fact, British Tobacco is his number 1 holding. He's got at least, and this is top 10, at least 3 gold miners, maybe 4. I'm not sure of this Franco. He's got Bank of Nova Scotia. Wait a second. So if Peter Schiff had people, if he was investing in U.S. stocks, he could have, instead of Bank of Nova Scotia, he could have the best bank, J.P. Morgan, the best run bank, the best in terms of its category. I've said this for years. Nobody comes close. Okay. Tencent. Well, instead of Tencent, he can have NVIDIA. Right? But of course, Peter's not savvy enough. He's not intelligent enough to have spotted NVIDIA. He can window dress it now. Right? But think about that. Think of what you're missing out. You have dog shit. So his value is basically gold miners and tobacco companies. That's not prudent. That's not prudent. You need, if you're gonna, folks, if you're talking about value, okay, Unilever he could put on there. I'm sure it's on there, but not top 10. Why is it not on there? It's consumer staples out of the UK, right? Something like that. Nestle, right? You understand. Instead, he's loading it up with gold. Why? I think he's window dressing. I think he's trying to boost his performance because gold is obviously strong now, and it's going to continue to remain strong for a while. And you all know why, right? Right? You don't know why? Well, I said it before. If you don't know why, well, you're not going to get it from me. But anyway, so let's take a look now. The next one. Okay. So you saw this performance here. It completely sucks. Let's take a look at his dividend, international dividend. Actually, I'm doing dividend gems research here later on. So it looks like this began in 2013. Take a look. Let's get it right here. Okay, 2014 looks like. Just want to be precise here. Actually, accurate is the appropriate term. So take a look, folks. Since inception, Peter Schiff's International Dividend Fund is up by it's down. It's down by 4.5%. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, you have to try hard to have this terrible performance. I mean, I can't do it. How can you do it? You have to be committed to perform this poorly. I mean, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Really? Look at that. Peter Schiff's International Dividend. And by the way, ask yourself why nobody else has done this, folks. Why? Because they're all about getting the clicks. I want the clicks. Oh, Peter, I want to interview you. You got a lot of people that follow you. I can get clicks from them and they'll subscribe. And you understand. They're all scammers. Okay? Of course, you've had some, you'll have some copycats from me and they'll pretend, oh, yeah, I'm going to expose. Folks, they're all frauds on YouTube. They're all scammers, okay? Monetization, you're a scammer. You're a business partner with scammers. Get a fucking job. Do something valuable for society. Stop squeezing money, extracting money from people by partnering up with scammers. Stop doing it, YouTubers. Take a look. S&P 500 over that time period, 203%. Okay. Now let's take a close look here. We'll just assume the S&P, the dividend annually was 2% dividend yield. That's, I think, a good guess. Although I think it probably understates the yield, to be honest with you, but nonetheless. Let's take a look at here we go. International dividend income. Okay. Oh, what do you know? British American Tobacco. Vodafone. Wow. Vodafone is fucking collapsed. I mean, in fact, that's a common theme with Peter Schiff. His investments, if you don't know that, let's take a look at a chart of Vodafone. It keeps collapsing. I mean, honestly, I don't know that Vodafone, it looks like they're going to have a problem staying in fucking business. It's going to be, looks like it's problematic. Maybe going to need some bailout or something. Let's take a look at Vodafone here. The problem you have, folks, in Europe is you have really, generally, it's even much worse leadership with these corporations than in America. Well, it's not working. Okay, here we go. Just to show you a chart. The problem with chasing a company that's fundamentally broken like Vodafone is there's a good chance they're going to have to cut their dividend again. They've had to cut it already a couple of times over the years, I'm pretty sure. Vodafone was once, a long time ago, a big player, but they got their hands involved in too many markets in too many countries, and that's been their downfall. Let's take a look here. This is the number 2 holding in Peter Schiff's dividend fund. Take a look at a 5-year chart. Take a look at that. Down, 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 down. Wow. Huh? Look at that. Look at that. Holy shit. Okay. Oh, wow. So, Vodafone, I think this is it's a gold. I don't know. Gold, 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 gold. You see that, folks? Gold. I mean, gold, gold. I mean, this is even more gold. Are you kidding me? You see that? I mean, is this a dividend fund? Folks, you understand the risk that you're getting yourself into? You understand this risk? This is not a proper dividend fund. It's a fucking gold fund, basically. Okay? Wow. Worse than that, though. Well, let's take a look. What's the dividend yield here? You saw the performance. It's down 4.5% since inception, and that's. Let's see. Here we go. What's the yield? Better be high as hell. Now, 3.78. You're paying Peter Schiff a huge fees, okay, to get less than what you can get in the money market. Wow. And the worst thing is not even that. The worst thing is for those suckers who've been in this fund for years, waiting, hoping, praying, crossing your fingers, and take a look. Folks, if you don't have a competitive advantage, buy the S&P. Because you're going to have to compete with people like me. Remember, investing is like playing football. You got 2 teams on the field. You got the dumb money and you got the pros. If you don't have access to the pros, if you can't get on the pro team, you're going to get steamrolled. And I can guarantee you right now, none of these guys in the media are on the pro team. They're making money for themselves while disseminating this mythology that they're great investors. Okay. And YouTube, you follow these guys? Oh, you're in deep trouble. Okay. So do we need to take a look at, I mean, this is taking too much time. Let's go ahead and International Bond Fund. Okay. Let's take a look. Going to run through this. Okay. International Bond Fund. Interesting. Let's see what countries. Well, anyway, we'll take a look here. Wow, 50 million. I guess people have bolted combined with the terrible performance. You know it's going to be terrible. Take a look. So this is a bond fund, okay? Look at the yield. 2.22%? 2.22%? Are you fucking kidding me? A bond fund that's yielding 2%? That's not even going to cover the expenses that you're paying to Peter. You see that? Let's take a look. What's the performance? Well, it's a typical Peter Schiff performance. Let's see. Let's make sure and get this right. Want to get the inception here. There you go. A typical Peter Schiff performance, you're down. Since inception, since 2013 to present, July 2024, if you're in Peter Schiff's International Bond Fund, it's down 9% over that time. Meanwhile, the S&P over that time is up 233%. Income, because I mean, if you're in a bond fund, you want that income. What's the income? Good God, 2.22%. This is essentially what the S&P is paying. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? And the sad thing is that this doesn't even cover your fees. Remember, the performance Schiff shows is without the fees. Now let's take a look to see the holdings. I'm interested in the holdings. This might be really hilarious here. Wow. So all of the holdings are in basic materials? That's weird. Wait a second. He's got 66% U.S. government bonds. Peter, but U.S. is trash. What are you doing, dude? Peter, what are you doing? Folks, you all do understand, of course, when you talk about U.S. government bonds, you're talking about the dollar. It's one and the same. You all do know that, right? Do you understand that? When you're talking about U.S. Treasuries, that's the U.S. dollar. Peter Schiff has done nothing but trash the U.S. dollar, calling a bond bubble. Yet his fund is investing in U.S. government bonds, and he can't even get a fucking decent performance. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? This guy's a joke. Wow, unbelievable. So we're gonna have to do Harry Dent in another stream, but it's important to go over this so people know, folks. What I'm doing is not rocket science. You could and you should be doing it as well. Okay, but people are lazy. This is his gold fund. I mean, it looks like most of his funds are gold fund. So let's take a look here. No yield, no dividend. Okay. Looks like a lot of garbage. Newmont's the only mining company worth a damn. Or let's say that's the only like blue chip mining company in terms of gold miners. It's not even on that list, or the top 10 anyway. So take a look, folks. Here's the performance. Take a look. Let me get the inception here. Yeah, there we go. So there you have it. Wow. So this is one of Peter's better performing funds since inception, since 2013 to current, July 2024. Peter Schiff's his gold fund is up by 1.64% cumulatively. Okay, I can guarantee you, write it down. If you held this fund since inception, you're going to be negative, because once again, the fees are not shown, the ticket charges, so on and so forth. Not to mention the fact that these are A shares. You get dinged by 5%. Jesus Christ, 5%. So think about it. If you invested in the S&P 500, okay, instead of Peter Schiff's gold fund in 2013, you could have beat his fund by a factor of, let's say, 160 times by buying the S&P. What a fucking joke. Okay, let's take a look now at the final one, and that's his emerging market fund. Okay, what do we have here? Peter hasn't he hasn't learned his lesson about China. He's in Chinese stocks. Now, let me just mention something in case you all don't know. I've mentioned it before. Very few, if anybody else knows, because you all know who's got the number on Peter Schiff. Did you know that Peter Schiff used to have a China fund? That's right. But it had to shut it down due to terrible performance and mainly withdrawals, outflows. See, Peter doesn't care if the performance is bad. He's still making money. He's still dinging you with his fees. But if the net outflows, if the assets under management become too low, well, they're going to have to close it down. I would say this other fund, what is it, the bond fund, they're going to have to close. 50 million is not enough. But take a look. Can you imagine, folks, by now, and of course I've posted some videos where I was in the past in my research back as far as 2015, I was warning about the risks of investing in Alibaba and Chinese securities. I posted many times over the years just to warn people about the risks. You see, Peter, of all the things that have happened now, there's never been any higher risk to China, to Chinese investing than now, and that increases every day. Yet Peter still has people exposed to Chinese stocks. Okay? Think about that. And I guarantee you he probably still has Alibaba on here, but not top 10. Guarantee he had it on there, but he wants to make sure because Alibaba's been a fucking disaster. He doesn't want to show people. That's my guess. So, I mean, obviously a disaster. Okay? Wait a second here. What is this? Let me make sure I get this correct. So inception for this fund was at the end of 2010. Looks like, December 2010. Let's make sure we got the correct inception. There you have it. Oh, it looks like he may be up on this one. Oh, wait a second. Is this? Yeah. Oh, he returned 5%, 5.5%. Wow. His best performing fund. Cumulatively, over a 15-year period, Peter Schiff returned 5%. That's not all fees, of course, but there you have it, folks. So think about this. Ask yourself the question. And it's not, just go through different periods. It's not just this cumulative. You can go through the 5-year. Let's do it right now. Okay? You understand? Go through different periods and you'll see. Ask yourself, given that, why is Peter continued to get media exposure unlimited? Why? There's two reasons. The first reason is because, once again, the objective of the media is to create dumb money. They make a lot more money if they create dumb money, if they blow you up by positioning con artists, broken clocks, and idiots as experts. Because you listen to them, you blow up, you lose your money, and then you're desperate. At some point, you call up one of their advertisers for help, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Fidelity, or some mutual fund company, an insurance company, right? So think about it. If the media provides content that creates dumb money, that blows you up, that's going to increase the chance that you're going to contact one of the advertisers, right? That means the advertisers are getting a very nice return on investment. And that means the platform, the media platform, can charge a higher price for their advertisements. Do you understand that? Same thing with YouTube. Got it? Now, the second reason why that they continue to air people like Peter Schiff and Harry Dent, so on and so forth, I can't talk about on YouTube. I can't say the fact that the media discriminates against most people and prefers and favors kind of the insiders, the same people who run the media. If you don't believe me, you haven't done the research. Remember, folks, I've earned it. Anything I say is fact until proven otherwise. I've earned that being an expert. My credentials are the highest you're going to find in the financial industry. Okay? This is all very important because it explains what's going on. Once you understand these 2 points, then you're going to understand what's going on with the media, the financial content, and how you're getting fucked. And it's a billion times worse on YouTube for many reasons. A billion times worse. What's the lesson here? The end of the day, folks, think about this. If you don't have a competitive advantage, and I don't know where you're going to get one. If you're on YouTube, by the way, the only chance I know of how you're going to get one's through me. If you're on YouTube, you can't get my research. You're disqualified. Okay? Because you're not going to you can't utilize it. If you're on YouTube, you're not able to utilize real research. Okay? You need to buy the S&P 500. That's what you need to do. And you're going to do much better than all these idiots on YouTube, than all these idiots that watch CNBC and read Market Watch and Wall Street Journal and Barron's. Okay? And you're going to have a second life. You're going to have 2 lives. You know why? Because if you're involved thinking you're going to beat the market and you're listening to all this financial content and you're trying to research and do all this stuff, folks, you're consuming half of your life. Think about the time you're doing. Consuming this content, trying to research, that's a waste of time. Take that time and you can actually double your life, right? That you would otherwise have wasted. You can do a lot of things with that. You can enjoy your life. You can become educated, go back to university or go to university. You can start a business, right? You can just be at peace. You understand? So with that, I'm gonna have to come back to Harry Dent here. I'm gonna have to come back to Harry Dent. I'm gonna do this stream on Dent, and we're gonna hit it hard. Okay, we're gonna hit it hard. And I think you guys realize there's nobody capable of giving this type of off-the-cuff little presentation like I've given. And hopefully you realize the priceless education that you just got. And you need to spread this stuff. Okay, stop sitting on your ass like an idiot and do something. Spread it. Okay? Most of the people aren't going to get it because they're fucking stupid. But at least you've done your part to help people. You've given them a chance. Okay, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Lead the horse. At least you can feel good knowing you tried. Okay, I'll be back here shortly with Harry Dent and Mr. Sachs.